Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well during this pandemic, which is great for everybody. Not, but what can we do? We have to get on with it and learn to live with it. For those who don't know me, my name is Rob Cullen, and I suppose a lot of the stuff that I do now is around weight loss and motivational talks, and some people call me an influencer and all that sort of stuff. But I'm here just as a husband, a father, and one half of a couple that went on a journey a couple of years ago to lose 13 stone between them. So myself and Yvonne are not experts in nutrition. We're not psychologists. We're not anything like that. We're just a normal working couple. And we decided we needed to change. We needed something different in our lives. I weighed in at 20 stone and we needed to change our lifestyle for the better. With two young boys, and when I'm talking to people, I always mention the one thing that you really need to have if you're looking to change anything in life is a strong motive and a strong why. And for us, it was both our health and both of our boys, Naeem and Tommy. So they were, I think, 4 and 8 or 4 and 9 at the time. And we just needed to, we wanted to play with them. I remember my dad playing football with me and I wanted to be able to play football with them. I wanted to run around with them. But at the time, I couldn't tie their laces. I couldn't probably even tie my own laces at the time. We knew we needed to change. So we went to a wedding in 2016 in Spain and we came back and we'd seen some photographs and videos of the wedding. And it was sort of that weekend we just decided, no, something has to change. We need to do something and we need to do it today. So we looked at what we could do. We tried different diets. So I wouldn't be a great advocate of telling people to go on a diet or anything like that. You need to look long term. You need to, look past something that's going to be fixed in 90 days or 6 weeks or 3 weeks or wherever. And we decided, no, we're going to go for this lifestyle change, as cliche as it sounds, and try to make a few small changes. And that's the thing that we learned, like making those few small changes to your daily habits, to your lifestyle itself can really make the difference. So it's small steps, small goals, small changes result in big results. But it's taking that first step, and that's what we had to do because, as I said, we had lost, 10 pounds, on 10 different diets over the course of 10 years. But it was really, this was something different. And I don't know what clicked, something clicked with the both of us that we were just all in and we just went for it. And I think, a tip that we always give to people now is if you can partner up with somebody to do anything, and that goes whether you're trying to, lose weight, whether you're trying to train for a marathon, whether you're trying to run a business, if you can do it with somebody, partner up with somebody, it really makes all the difference. And you're accountable to each other as well. So we would always have having sort of friendly competitions between each other to see who's losing the most amount of weight each week, to see who's doing better on the Fitbit. So it's all friendly competitiveness. I say friendly, like you always want to win, no matter how competitive or non-competitive or how close you are to your partner or not. You still want to win. So it kept us going all the time, and we still do it now, even because it's 4 years now since we started. So we started in 2016. It took about 2 years to lose the weight, and between us we lost 13 stone. So I lost 7.5 stone, and Yvonne lost 5.5 stone. So it was, funny enough, it worked out for me 104 pounds over the course of 2 years, which obviously works out at a pound a week. And that's it, like something that, again, I share with people now. Even if you're looking to lose weight, if you can lose a pound a week over the course of time, that's how easy it can add up. And it's 2 years now since we've kept it off. And I suppose that's because we've done it in a way that was sustainable. We made it fit into our life, that it didn't take over our life. Although some people might say, well, it did take over your life, but it did and it didn't. We incorporated it into what we were doing, making those small changes. So it wasn't like, we went on this crash diet and a juice diet or a cabbage soup diet or cutting out one type of food group diet, because all those type of things are good short term, not great for your health, but they're definitely not sustainable. And most people that actually do things like that would lose the weight in the course of 4 or 5 weeks, and then they'll go back to what they know as a normal, sort of way of eating, a normal lifestyle, and they'd end up putting the weight back on. So we just decided to make small changes, and we planned it out. I mean, we followed the guidelines now that we give out of goal setting and starting small. So even though I lost 7.5 stone at the very start, like I had a target to get half a stone off. And that's even though I was over 20 stone, all I wanted to lose was a half a stone. And I took it at a half a stone each time. And Yvonne was the same, just a half a stone each time. So you're breaking down your goals. You're not seeing this big, huge target of 104 pounds is what I have to lose. It's over the course of the next few weeks. And we didn't even put a deadline on it. It was trying to say over the next few weeks, we'll try and lose a half a stone. I think it took 3 weeks to lose the first half stone. And once I got there, I was just like, boom, that was it. Then we were off. We knew what we were doing was working. We knew it was sustainable. We knew we were bought into it, and we just kept going. But starting small and breaking it down is really, really important, and was really important for us. And writing them down then as well, and talking about how we were going to do it, but then absolutely actioning it as well. So it's making those small changes in your life that you can incorporate into your daily life. And change is, like, everybody knows change is hard, and doing it consistently is really hard. And the more times than not, we try to avoid the change that we're trying to do. So we'll see that, and you see that in January when people are, making these New Year's resolutions. By the end of January, people have fallen off the cliff and they've given up, because they're not something that they can do all the time. They're not something that's sustainable. So it's like somebody saying, I'm going to go to the gym 7 nights a week. Well, ask yourself, how many times are you going to the gym already? And if it's none, well, maybe try and go once a week. Maybe go for a walk once a week. Try and do something small all the time, and not, all of a sudden, I'm going to give up this, or I'm going to join the gym for 7 nights a week, because it's not sustainable. And that's really important. And a lot of the time when we're trying to change, we're relying on, the power of this willpower that we have. And willpower is good at the start, and it keeps you going. It's a bit like motivation. Like motivation is what gets you started, but your habits and your consistency is what keeps you going. And willpower comes from the logical side, but you really want to touch on your way power. And that's what I spoke about at the start, is your motive and your why, and the emotions that you bring into it. So a lot of people, when they're trying to lose weight, might have pictures of, a destination where they're going on holidays, or they might have a picture of a dress that they might want to fit in. On our fridge, we always had a picture of the two boys. So anytime we were going to, go offside, it'd be like, you've seen the two boys, this is why we're doing it, this is the reason we're trying to lose weight. And you don't open the fridge and you think, right, now that's hitting my emotional side, but this is why we're doing it. I'm not gonna, eat that bar of chocolate now. I might eat it later, but I'm just not going to eat it now. So it's touching on that, emotional side of things. And that's more important than the willpower that you're going to have, because that's what will keep you going. So
you were saying, sorry,
yeah.
Rob, I suppose, well, I was going to ask you, what was a tip you'd give to somebody who wants to go on a weight loss journey? And I know you're saying do it with somebody else, which is great. So if, like myself, you live on your own and you want to start this journey and have no willpower, what's a good tip you would give to somebody like myself who needs to kind of have that continuous reminder of why they're going on this journey? What would be a good tip there?
Yeah, well, it's having I speak about the power of having a big why and a big motive, but that can change as well. Like, our why and our motive has changed over the last couple of years since we lost the weight. Now we're trying to keep it off. Now we're able to do more than we were when we were collectively 13 stone heavier. So your why changes. And that's not to say we don't give a crap about the boys anymore, but they were what got us into the position that we're in now. But now our whys might change. We might want to do things that are more, closer to us, that maybe we want to train for something, or we want to, fit into that other suit, or we want to, stay fit because it enables us to do more. But your why can change. It doesn't have to be anything too outrageous either, but having that strong motive to start with. But it's really, Sandra, it's really starting small. It's changing habits. So, like, habits is such a big thing, and it's a big topic now, but it's something that I was talking about 4 years ago, that how you can change just one habit in your life can change everything. So they say there's 4 areas and habits around moving, eating, resting, and routine. But if you can change one of them, they generally interlink with each other. And just to explain that, like, if you were to say, okay, in my eating habits, I'm going to, at my 11 o'clock break, I'm going to eat an apple rather than eating a biscuit. So you've made that one change in your habit, and that would probably improve your routine. It would probably improve um, the way you're eating, definitely. It will improve the way you're resting, because if you're eating bad food during the day, we don't rest often enough. And then you'll probably think at lunchtime, I might go for a walk because I'm eating healthier during the day. So it all kind of interlinks together if you can just change the one habit, every day. But I would say, starting off, the big thing that you have to do is plan. And I was saying to you there, like, we plan ahead every Sunday. We start doing this 4 years ago. Every Sunday we planned what we were having for our dinners during the week. Now, it sounds sometimes outrageous, and it sounds like, oh, it's a lot of hard work. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes on a Sunday. And we'll sit down after Sunday dinner, when usually you might be having a nap, or you might be watching something on Netflix, or you might be, just lounging on the sofa. We'll take out a few cookbooks or a few magazines, and we'll plan what we're having. And we write it out every, so you can see, kitchen notes, every Sunday we have what we're having for our dinner on each day that week. And it's not prepping it, it's just knowing what we're having. And we post this, Yvonne posts that every week on Instagram. Just, this is what we're having. So it might be fish, it might be beef one night, it might be chicken one night, it might be vegetarian one the other night. But it's just to know what we're having, because you're less likely then. If I think back at the times where we were probably making bad choices and bad, food decisions, it was when we didn't have, the mince left out to make the dinner. So we just took something out of the freezer, we just went out for dinner, or we ordered something in. Where if you have that plan in place, and like tonight I'm having, we're having mince burgers, we know that we'll have, because it is Friday, Shane, we'll have the burgers on a Friday. We'll have the mince out, we know we're making the burgers, so everything is there. It's ready for us to make. We don't prep it. And I don't really believe in all this prepping and having 40 lunch boxes of stuff ready to make for the week, because that screams that you're on a diet or you're on a plan. Whereas now it's just a normal way of life. And I know, as I keep saying, it's that cliche of a lifestyle change, but we know it's not a plan that we're on. We're just living a healthier life. But it's planning ahead is definitely starting small, planning ahead. And I know I was saying partner up, but if you can't, then you have to do it on your own. By all means do, but still take the small steps, take action, and plan what you're going to do.
You're saying you post your meals up on Facebook. Do you put the recipes up as well?
Yeah, so we'll put up on the Sunday, we'll put up the list of what's on the menu for the week, and then each night then Yvonne will post the dinners, and she'll post the recipe down of them as well.
Great, so you can download the recipes from Facebook.
Download the recipes, and then we have the website as well. Now, the website is probably not as up to date as the Instagram page. So the Instagram page, obviously, Yvonne would be posting on a daily basis what's, for breakfast, what's for lunch, what's for dinner, what she's making while she's watching the Bake Off, which is a pretty dangerous time at the moment when the Bake Off is on, because there's been a lot of macaroons and madeleines being made, and Battenbergs. Anything that they're making on the Bake Off gets made as well. So we get the lads involved in it as well. So that can be a little bit dangerous. But yeah, she would post up on Instagram what we're making and what we're eating, as well as on the rest.
And what would be your favourite meal, Rob?
I think anything that we can kind of, like, we were having probably a lot of takeaways or too many takeaways. So anything that we can copy as a fakeaway, if you like. So a lot of different types of curries, like the likes of burgers and chips. There's so many of them that, like, I couldn't even pick. Like, and I know, like, when we're talking about the board, the planning the board for the week. And one thing I always say to people is, if you're planning your meals for the week, as we do on a Sunday, if you're not excited on Sunday about what you're going to have on Friday, you're not going to be excited on the Friday. So make sure your meals are something that you want to eat, and you're not just writing them down because I have to fill in some sort of gap for Friday. I don't know what we're going to have. But most of the meals that we're having, we're always looking forward to them. They're different mince dishes, different chicken dishes, and we have everything. We don't cut out anything. The only thing I cut out was alcohol, and that was just because of more to do with the lads, training the lads on on a Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, matches on a Saturday, on a Sunday. Like, I didn't want to be that parent in the woolly hat on the sideline, with the head down because you were dying of a hangover. And then I think back to my parents never drank at home when we were younger. So it was just a choice. And there was a couple of things. The lads were definitely one of them. And another one was, you tend to make bad food choices when you're drinking. So we all know, if you're out at a party, when we could go out to parties and you were drinking, there was always platters of food and the salty food that they give you in bars just to keep eating and to keep drinking. And then on the way home you'll get something, and then the next day you have a hangover and you're gonna order more greasy food, or make bad choices around food. So we just thought the easiest thing to do is cut out the alcohol. We cut it down first and then cut it out. So we have the occasional drink now, but nothing too hectic. And if we do have a drink, we have one. It's not something that I miss too much. There's plenty of alcohol-free options, and for me, that's a win-win. I like to taste the beer. I don't like hangovers, so we can drink as many Heineken Zero as I want, and I don't have the hangover, and I still keep my good food choices. So, but yeah, anything that, like, we make so many. I suppose if I was to pick one, I like anything. This month definitely I've gone for anything peanut buttery, so satay, beef satays and stuff like that. Again, you're copying it like a takeaway that we might have got. So
I would have thought peanut butter would be quite heavy in calories, is it?
it's not too bad. If you're putting a tablespoon in a pot between 4 people, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
And the one thing we always do for the meals as well is all of our meals are for a family of 4. The lads eat wherever we're eating. We might have different types of greens or veg, but if we're having, a beef satay, the lads are having it as well. We might just have extra peppers and onions and mushrooms, and the lads will have, a little bit of veg and the rice and beef.
So you might know that Celtic Careers, we've been doing the Power of 10 challenge for the last, tomorrow's our last day, 9 days. And we have been out walking our kilometre a day. So despite the weather, we've had a couple of really rotten days this week, but we still got out and walked. So I suppose really, how do I motivate the team in here to keep that up after we finish our 10 days, and not just go back to couch potato in the evening?
I think it's that, it's doing the basics every day. So it's something that you're doing. And when we're speaking about habits and changes, the more you do things, like, the more they become normal. So if you're doing that on a daily basis for 10 days, the chances are on day 11 you're going to do it as well. So it's bringing that in, that it's something that that they're going to do daily. And how much are they walking every day?
About a kilometre minimum, but I mean, we're all kind of doing 2 or 3 kilometres a day. So we've probably, over the course of 10 days to do 10 kilometres, we probably most of us done an average of about 30.
Yeah, so it's something then that you're just adding into your daily life, and it's something that it becomes normal then as well. And you're given probably 1% of your day. Like, if people could probably walk a kilometre in 15 minutes, I would say, easy enough. And like, if you break down your day, and if we talk about this 1% better, or giving 1% of your time to yourself, and if the walk is something that people are doing for themselves, like, break it down that there's 525,600 minutes in a year, 10,080 minutes in a week, so 1,440 minutes in a day, and 1% of that is 14 minutes and 40 seconds. So if you can give yourself that 14 minutes 40 seconds every day to become that 1% better you, and that can be from walking, it can be from eating better, it can be meditating, it can be reading a book, whatever it is. But for that daily challenge that you're doing, it's just that 14 minutes. If you break it down to that 14 minutes 40 seconds, 1% of your day to give to that walk every day, that actually it's like those 4 areas of habits that we spoke about. So if they're walking 1 kilometre every day, it's improving their routine, improving their movement, it will improve their rest because they're going to be more tired, and they probably make better food choices because they're thinking, like, I know if I don't exercise, no, we never went on this big exercise regime, joining the gym, anything like that. All I ever did, because I'm working in Dublin Chamber, we're right next to Merrion Square. Every day at lunchtime, I done 5 laps of Merrion Square, and that made me think, okay, I'm in the right headspace. I listened to a podcast, I done the walk around, and it made me make better choices around what lunch I was having because I was doing the exercise, not necessarily, I wasn't doing it and then saying, now we can have the, the takeaway McDonald's because I'm out there doing it. I actually thought I'm in a good space now. I've made the choice to do the walk, so I'm not going to eat, those pastries that are at the events, or I'm not going to eat that, the sandwiches that are at the events or wherever, because I was doing the walk. So it kind of improved the 4 areas of habits. And then it just became a daily thing. So when I could, if we didn't have an event on, I was out walking around at least sort of 3 times a week. And that just becomes a habit. But it's more the actual doing it every day than what you're actually doing. So if you can bring them into doing something every day, it will just be normal. And like what you said, that couch potato, or the couch to 5K that everybody is doing. I always say to people, if you can just do that couch to front door, get past the front door, you're actually there, because it's the actual thoughts of doing something. So if you use an example of, I don't know whether yourself or Shane, I know I certainly wouldn't do it, any type of skydive or whatever. But if you ever see somebody that's doing a skydive and you see the video of them in the air, they're like, whoa, they think it's the best thing ever. But get them 2 minutes before that when they're in the airplane, they're like, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it. It's the actual thoughts of actually doing something. So if you take that with any type of change that you're trying to implement into your life, or any type of exercise, like if I'm thinking I'm going to go for a 5K run tonight, I'll be thinking of every excuse not to go. The weather's bad, it's too cold, something's on the telly, I didn't get this done, I have to do this. But actually, once you get out, you enjoy it. And that can be a 5K run, or it can be a 5-minute walk, or it can be, a cycle around the block, or it can be anything that you want to do, any of that exercise. And it's a bit like the food, you have to eat what you like. So it's making a healthier version of the food that you like. But on an exercise side, you have to do the exercise that you like. I absolutely will not join a gym. I don't like going to the gym. I don't like seeing posers in the gym. I don't like the different, machines in the gym. So I will not join a gym. So I'm not going to join the gym because it's not something that I like. But I will go for a walk. I'll break into a run the odd time, and I have a bike that sometimes I go out on. But I'm not going to do something that I don't like doing. So there's no point in telling somebody to go for a run if they don't like running. Just go for a walk instead. So it's doing that exercise that you really like, that you can bring into your daily habits. And it's the same with the food. It's eating food that you like. No point in telling somebody to go on a vegetarian diet if they really love meat, or cut out carbs if they really like bread and rice and pasta and spuds. It's, can you cut it down? Can you, make it sustainable, that it's going to be healthy for you to eat a certain size portion of it every day, rather than cutting it down, because that makes it more sustainable.
And what's your opinion on all this, like low carb diets or intermittent fasting?
The intermittent fasting is a funny thing, because we probably do it to a certain extent, and I'd say most people do it without even really realizing it. Because a lot of people would stop eating at 9 and probably wouldn't eat till 9 the next morning anyway. So if you can do it for 12 hours, there's not that much of a difference. I know they say it could be 14 hours, 16 hours, but people are probably doing it without, really working. And I'll go back to the same answer on both of them. It's probably, people always ask, was eating late really bad for you? It is if you're eating bad stuff. So again, it's the more what you're eating than when you're eating it that I'd be more worried about. The problem with late night eating is none of us are craving spinach or kale or carrot sticks at 9 o'clock in the night. So we're more craving the sugary foods or the cakes or the chocolate bars and stuff like that. But yeah, I try and give myself 12 hours, but not really, on purpose. It's just something that would accidentally happen. I wouldn't be watching the clock and say it's 9 o'clock, I can't eat after 9 o'clock. But I think they do help your system. They do help you digest things more. So if you can cut it down a little bit and being careful of what you're eating, as opposed to, when you're eating. On the cutting out carbs and the low carbs, it's not sustainable. And that's coming from somebody that's tried them and failed them. More so than being an expert on them, because if you cut out carbs, let's say, and you're just having veg and meat and veg and fish and all these things that you can have on a no carb diet, you crave the stuff that you can't have. So it's more thinking of actually what can I have and a healthier version of it, and think of what you can eat rather than what you can't eat. Because if somebody tells you you can't do this or you can't have that, it's like being a child. You really
Yeah.
want to do it and you're going to do it. So I would be more inclined to cut things down rather than cut things out. And it's just not, for me, it would not be sustainable to never have potatoes, pasta, rice, bread to a certain extent, even though I don't really eat that much bread, but any of those sort of carbohydrates that think we think of first, cutting them out just wouldn't work for me. Like,
So what would you say your guilty pleasure is when it comes to those kind of foods?
chocolate still. I still have chocolate, I still have cakes. But I try and I try and limit the time that I can have the things. So like from the start, we would always try to have our treats, and desserts are another thing. Like, but anything that's sort of creamy and chocolatey, I'm all over it. But in the evening, so I try and have it in the evening. So instead of having, a bar of chocolate at lunchtime, I'll wait and have that bar of chocolate in the evening. But it's knowing your limit. But I try to have them in the evening. It doesn't always happen, but I'll try and have them. But yeah, chocolate is one thing that I definitely can't really give up, or wouldn't even try to give up. But I try and I wouldn't say I know my limits, but I try limited to a certain amount. Because again, I believe in balance, and you don't beat yourself up if you eat the full bar of chocolate. You just move on and forget about it. You can't look back, always looking forward type of thing. But yeah, I definitely go for the, and if we're eating out, when we ever get to eat out again, I definitely would be having the dessert. We might share a dessert or something, but anything like that, that's the treat. We look at it as a treat and we can have it, but it's bringing that balance into your life.
Yeah. I suppose coming to the end of our chat, for so many people now working from home, and this COVID stone, or in some cases a stone and a half, this weight that people are putting on because they're working from home and they're kind of easy access to all the foods. Is there anything you would kind of give them a tip on how to avoid that pitfall if we're going to go into another lockdown in the next few months and more people will be working from home again?
Yeah, I think it's funny, and we're probably all culprits of it. And I've heard a few, the COVID kilos. I heard the Corona stone. I heard this week, which I thought was a good one. Or the pandemic pounds. But it's funny because people, I do a bit of one-to-one coaching, and people that I was talking to 9 months ago were saying, look, we're working parents. We don't get home till 7 in the evening. We don't have time to cook healthy meals. We're making bad choices, and that's where we're falling down. And then the same people now are saying, oh, sure, we're at home, we too much time, we're eating all the wrong stuff. So it's not really the time that's the issue. It's making those choices and remembering, no matter what the situation is, you always have a choice. So it's a bit like the board, planning ahead, having the right food to snack on, drinking plenty of water, habit stacking as much as you can. So I'd say every time I'm doing a Zoom call, I'll always have a glass of water. So you're having the water and you're getting your intake. But it's making those choices. It's making, home cooked meals, and just remembering that you have the choice. But it is hard. Like, I'm at home. I'm the only one working from home here. So when you're at home here 7 or 8 hours on your own, there is that sort of chance that you're going to go to the fridge or you're going to go to the press. But it's remembering, what choices can I make? I always have an apple beside me as well. So if you're not hungry enough to have an apple, you're not really hungry. It's trying to make those choices and make the better choices, and having healthy meals, having those, the plan for the meal in the evening gets me excited. So I know I'm having a lovely dinner tonight. So you're looking forward to that dinner and you want to be hungry. It's a bit like when you're going out for a meal, you don't eat really too much beforehand because you're really looking forward to it. We need to bring that into our homes as well, that we're looking forward to that lovely evening meal this evening, that you're not going to, go off the rails during the day. But I definitely think it's hard, but it's making those better choices, and the snacking is where a lot of people fall down, is that sort of in between eating. So can you snack on something healthier? Can you be putting up, fruit and veg and eating that during the day? I know it's not exciting and it's not for everybody, but your future self will thank you for it. You got to think of, every time I'm going to do something, what will my future self think of this? So that's why, yes, I cut up the carrots and the peppers and apples and pears, and try and, not overboard on them, but limit your snacks to, a few times a day, and trying to make better choices. But it's all about choices. And
Yeah.
as it's an old sort of phrase of, no matter what the situation is, you always have a choice. And
Yeah.
it's your choice, that hand to mouth movement. You're the only person that can do that. So it's just remembering that, and remembering which you want more. Like it's back to that.
Yeah.
When we were trying to lose the weight, it was that why and the motive of that. We wanted to do it for the boys. It's which do you want more? Do I want that bar of chocolate now at 11 o'clock, or do I want to lose a couple of pounds this week, or do I want whatever your goal is? It's which do you want more? And my
Yeah.
favorite phrase around that was, I seen a film a few years ago, Cardboard Gangsters, an Irish film, and you were in the boxing club, and all plastered on the wall, you had the phrase, suffer the pain of discipline, or suffer the pain of regret. So
It's
nobody,
very true.
it's having that discipline during the day, or you do regret it. And we've all been in that situation where you eat something or too much of something, and you regret it straight away. So it's having that discipline beforehand, and if you do, I wouldn't be telling people to suffer with the regrets, because I've plenty of them, as Frank Sinatra said, regrets. I've had a few. Then again, so it's yeah, it's giving yourself a break sometimes, but yeah, trying to make better choices. But I know it's hard, but it's getting it in. Look, it all starts up here. It's
Yeah.
the mindset, having the mindset of which do you want more? What do I want to achieve more? Do I want that bag of crisps, or do I want, to stay on track, or stay on? And if some days you want that bag of crisps, have that bag of crisps.
Yeah. I have to say, yeah, that's been fantastic. I got some really good tips from there, and I'll definitely be onto the Instagram for the healthy recipes, because I think that's probably the biggest block most people have is, the jars of processed sauces and foods that's in the press. That's just handy to use, but if the recipes are there, yeah, I'll
Yeah,
definitely
and
be going onto Instagram.
it's so easy to make up your own sauces, and all you're needing is stocks and spices, and we have those stock cupboard essentials, as they say. So having the curry spices and your different variation of spices, and I don't think people give themselves enough credit on what they can actually cook. People are sometimes afraid to cook, but it's not that hard. And so what if you get it wrong? You learn the next time not to put the natural yogurt in when the curry is hot, because it's going to split or it's going to curdle. So, but you learn from that. I mean, we had to learn from it. They're the things that you learn. But it's like anything. If you make it yourself or build something yourself, it's you always enjoy it more when you've made it yourself. It's that sense of achievement, no matter what it is. If it's something that you bought from IKEA, or it's something that you made to put on a plate, or if it's a cake that Yvonne might make after watching the Bake Off. If you've made that Battenberg cake, it's much better than having gone to
Yeah.
the shop and bought one. And it's the same with the meals. If you can think, geez, I'm after making this lovely lasagna, I'm after making this lovely curry, I'm after making this, lovely vegetarian dish, wherever it might be, and everybody loves it and is nearly licking the plate at the end of the dinner, that you've done good, and you can't really buy that. So it's trying, having that variety and trying different things, and
Yeah.
and, and having that one different meal every week. Can I bring in one extra new meal every week, and having that variety, because people get bored with the same food. So it's having a huge amount of variety in it that really works.
Anyway, I just want to say thanks so much, Rob. That was really, I really, really enjoyed actually listening to you, and congratulations to you and Yvonne. An amazing journey you've been on, and what you've accomplished. And I'm sure your boys are absolutely thrilled to have the two of you running around with them.
Oh, they parade us around like Grand National winning horses now.